and welcome back to another great edition of Now You're Talking with me, Jessi Marcincavage. On the third Wednesday of every month for Now You're Talking, we are going to be having Vicki Laudick here with us to be able to give you advice for relationships or life or communication questions that you might have. And I put it out there on Facebook if you have any questions that you would like answered that are confidential by Vicki Laudick of First Step Family Violence. She'd be more than happy to answer them. So as always, remember, the third Wednesday of every month, we'll be having Vicki Laudick on. So please email me any questions that you might have for next month, which is, my email address is Jessi, Jessi, at CoshoctonTV.com. And just a friendly reminder for you that we go live every Wednesday at 10 o'clock on www.CoshoctonTV.com, Coshocton's online TV station. Let's go ahead and get into your questions that were submitted for this month. How are you doing, Vicki?
I'm doing great today.
Good. Well, we'll start off with our first question.
Okay.
And our first question is, what should I do if my child is suffering from depression? What are some of the signs I should look for?
One thing with our teens, that's what we're focused on, that shows depression is that you might see an extreme change in behavior. You may see, a lot of sleeping, withdrawal, not doing things that they like to do. Let's say they're very active in a sport, and they choose not to do that sport anymore. You might see them going into the rooms more and not wanting to associate with family. You may see some eating behaviors changing, not eating or overeating. Just that, a lot of crying and just that affect, that flat affect. Now we have to look at also that there are things that people are sad about, and there's things that occur that we feel depressed over. So if you see this as an ongoing issue, and you just see this change in your child, then it's time to start asking those questions, and watching them, watching their what they do with their activity, when they're in the room, talking with them, trying to pull them out. Certainly if those things are not working, because sometimes it's hard for families to deal with the issues of why the child's feeling depressed. So then you need to contact local people here in Coshocton County. Certainly in our county, the Tompkins Center, Child and Adolescent Center for youth 10 or 18 and under would be, they're the experts in our community, and contacting them and letting them know, this is what's going on with my child. I'm not sure what to do. And at that point, they may be able to schedule time to see the child individually and also as a family. But I think when we look at the issue of depression is certainly part of our community, part of our society, and with all the things that our youth is dealing with, all the things adults are dealing with, it is a common feeling, it's a common emotion. It's just when it gets to a point where it's ongoing and you don't see any stopping, no end to it. Certainly, too, when the kids are talking about this is hopeless, I'm never going to make it, I don't feel good about myself.
The suicide thoughts.
Suicidal ideations is very important. And it's not always just I'm going to suicide or I'm going to take my life, I'm going to kill myself. It's about things that worthlessness. I don't have value anymore. I don't have a purpose in my world. And when you hear those things, and those are certainly those major red flags that you have to pay attention to and not overlook. Oh, it's just a kid being a kid. We have to really listen to them and know what their resources are in the community. So even if you have children that are teens that are not showing these symptoms of any depression or suicidal ideation, still get to know what your community has to offer, because we don't know when it may occur. And again, the Tompkins Center, we also, we're talking about suicide, we also have a suicide prevention committee here in Coshocton County, and they can be contacted through Coshocton Behavioral Health Choices or Drug and Alcohol, as we've known it in the past. So contact these agencies, know what is available for you, and for the support of being a parent of a child who may be dealing with depression or suicidal ideations, because we want to see those red flags soon. We can't overlook them. It's just very important to do that. If you're interested in knowing all the resources in our community, if you contact Coshocton Job and Family Services, they do have a resource booklet, which I did bring with me, and it's very simple to follow, and it tells all the agencies that we have in our community and the resources. Because in Coshocton County, we do have a lot of awesome again, resources that are supportive of families and the different issues that they're dealing with.
All right. My parents do not like my boyfriend. What should I do? Which is a common thing because some parents don't like people's boyfriends or girlfriends.
Right. This is a tough question, that it depends on the age of the individual. You know, if you're 25 years old and your parents do not like your boyfriend or your girlfriend, well, you're making adult decisions. Whenever you're a teenager, or I guess younger it can be at this point, that we talk about what are your concerns as a parent. What are your concerns? What would be the red flags in this relationship that you see? With the individual, the teen, it's talking with their parents about why this person they like. I mean, what are the positives about them? But it's also hearing your parents and addressing those things that they're concerned with. Following the rules. You know, if parents say you have to be in by 11, then, you know, letting this boyfriend or girlfriend know, I have to follow these rules. And then there's that respectfulness that that individual earned by the parent. But you have to hear them. And there's not a real clear-cut answer to that one, because it really depends on the situation. You know, certainly as a mom and having children, if I saw my child in an abusive relationship, I'm going to have a hard time respecting that person. So as a parent, I have to be real clear on what my concerns are. And I realize, too, that not always will my child be able to hear me because I'm mom, okay? So again, it's finding those resources in the community, that outside person, which can be an agency if you belong to a faith-based organization. Grandparents, I think, are awesome, of course. You know, having them listen and talk with the person, with the teen, so they can kind of step out of what their focus is, and that's having this relationship. Let's step out of it and kind of look at what are the red flags are. What are some boundaries you need to set with this individual? Because a lot of times we don't talk to our young people about boundaries. We don't talk to our children about self-respect, self-esteem. I mean, we use that word a lot, but we really don't define it, because that is defined for each one of us. We have to define it ourselves. So it's talking about, you know, what are those self-respectful things that we can do. And in a relationship, we need to be more self-aware instead of looking at what that other person's doing. It's like how we're dealing with it and how we feel. You know, we get that heebie-jeebie feeling is what I call it inside. We need to listen to that, or the little voice that says, this doesn't feel right. We need to talk to our teens about that now, because that will encourage them to look at the relationships differently. But we also know as a parent, if we say, don't see that person, the likelihood of that happening isn't there. So we really need to have that open communication. But again, it's not talking to our children. It's talking with them, hearing them, asking those questions, not assuming things is so important to do. So I think it goes back to, you guys sit down and talk with mom and dad, and why don't you like my boyfriend or my girlfriend, and what can we do to resolve this?
Another one is a long one, but we're going to skip to another one because I want to address this one. Where can I find a fairly normal, honest person, or where can a fairly normal, honest person find a fairly normal, honest person to have a healthy relationship life with? That is the question.
Well, that's a good question. And in our community,
I think everybody wants to know the answer to that question.
I don't think I have it.
Which I think personally we should do, like, you know, our own like spin-off of Match.com for Coshocton. I could be a matchmaker.
There you go. That's
yeah,
that's a tough question. Yeah, and in small communities, where are the places you can go and feel safe in meeting people? Certainly, you know, your bars, restaurants is not probably the best place to go, and we know that, and I don't support that. If you're involved with a church, again, a faith-based, or a community, I mean, there's Kiwanis and Rotary, places like that, or organizations where there's a mix of men and women. But that's a tough question, because there isn't really a place to go. You know, we've heard the stories about go to the grocery store and meet the person who's by themselves there. You know, I don't know that I support that either. But in our community, it's really, we have to, again, look at ourselves and look at what type of relationship we want. we look at other people and say we want this relationship and it's about them, and it's really not about the other person. We have to also, the relationship has to be based on ourselves. Again, what is respect? What is a healthy relationship? You and I mean, there's 5 of us in here. We all may just define that differently. What is a healthy relationship for ourselves? Knowing those things, knowing the red flags and the boundaries, because with the background in domestic violence, most people getting in violent relationships, you don't know that until you're already in the relationship. Everything seems perfect. This match is just going really well. They listen to me. They like all the things I do. And then once you buy in and make a commitment, if you will, then you see those abusive behaviors, which is usually not physical. It's usually that controlling type of thing. So it's knowing about those things. So when you get into a relationship, you're looking at this person saying, okay, again, I have these feelings inside. I'm not okay with that. I either need to leave this relationship or I need to address it with this person. So before you go out looking for a relationship, you have to know what that is and what that means to you. If anybody has any ideas of where a really positive places to meet people, I'm sure if they email you, and we can discuss that at a later time.
Sure, if anybody has any suggestions
That's right.
on where to meet people in Coshocton, or if you're looking for a healthy relationship too, email me and maybe I can play matchmaker. All right, so we're going to do one more question.
Okay.
And I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do. Well, we'll go with this one. My girlfriend thinks she is fat and ugly. What do I need to do to help her regain her self-esteem?
You find the good things about this individual, and that it's not about the outside, it's about the inside of the person. We can't make someone have a positive self-esteem. Again, they have to find that within themselves. What we can do is point out the positive things about them, encouraging them, providing them with that support, and not, comparing them to other people. The way you treat other individuals, other women, if in the situation, that you look at them and you're telling them what is good about them. But they have to be willing to hear that. And again, it's about they have to find their own self-esteem. So again, support systems, programs within the community that would support an individual. If they think that they're overweight, okay, where do I need to go to deal with that? Let me be supportive of you. You want to lose 5 pounds. Okay, well, let me support you with that, and we'll do this together. Those are the type of things that we can do in relationships, and to be supportive of someone who's not feeling good about themselves. And usually that comes from deep inside. They've been told those things. They've been told that, as a female, your only worth is through the way you look or how much you weigh. And we know that that's not true. Our worth is within ourselves. The outside really is just secondary. The real us is inside of us, and who we are and how we respond to people and how we treat each other. So it's finding those things and being supportive of that individual. And the hopes is that they will find their own self-esteem and feel good about themselves.
Well, we'll definitely get to the other questions next month on the third Wednesday here on Now You're Talking with me, Jessi Marcincavage, and you have been watching www.CoshoctonTV.com, Coshocton's online TV station.